Hey soldiers, when's the last time you tried to access your online banking account to see how much money you have in there? Have you tried that lately? What happened when you did? Let me tell you what happened to my wife and I. And by the time you're finished watching this video, you're going to want to make some changes to your relationship and how you communicate with your bank. We've been over this before, but I want to talk to you about a real world experience that we had and hundreds of thousands of others, maybe even millions of others have had in the last 24 hours. And this is not being reported, okay? Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so last night was July 5th. My wife came to me and she said, hey, have you tried to access your online banking account? And I said, not lately. She said, try it. Let me know what you get. So I tried on the app on my phone. They gave me a message saying that not available at this time. Sorry for the inconvenience. So I said, well, let me try on the laptop. Tried it on there. Same message. She was getting the same thing. That's why she asked me to check. Now listen, before I go any further, we have done videos on just this very subject. Did them a while back telling people to be very careful about how you manage your relationship with your bank, because it was my opinion that banks were going to be vulnerable to cyber attacks. And if a bank is vulnerable to a cyber attack, that means your money is vulnerable, the money that you have in the bank. Now, we don't keep a tremendous amount of money in the bank. We keep enough to pay bills. But still, that's my money. So we went to bed, okay? And we woke up this morning, and I was able to access my app, but my wife still wasn't able to access hers. But even when I opened my app, I got this message. If you see incorrect balances or missing transactions, we apologize for this issue. Your accounts continue to be secure, and we're working quickly on a resolution. Doesn't sound like my accounts are secure. Okay, so I said, what's going on here? So what I did was I took a look, and I'm going to show you this. I looked at several of the largest banks in America, and lo and behold, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank, Bank of America, and Chase, they all had outages at around 9 p.m. last night, stretched into the early morning hours of July 6th. All of them had these outages, okay? Now, I went to see if I could find any news on this, and I wasn't able to. I did find a couple of stories from one here. FNB outages leave customers stranded and frustrated for hours. And I said, FNB, where are they out of? But this is out of a foreign country. So it's not only happening in America. This does not only happen here, but apparently these bank outages are happening around the world. And I apologize, but FNB, I don't know where the hell they're from. But anyway, FNB said their systems were not entirely down. Instead, there was limited functionality affecting bank cards and accounts. Okay, so I found that story. And then there was actually another incident that occurred. Let's see. New People's Bank. Now, this is saying that the New People's Bank on Wednesday, that would have been a few hours ago, actually. Actually, this was last month. My apologies. This was June 29th. New People's Bank on Wednesday announced an unauthorized person hacked into its system on June 9th, gaining access to employees, stakeholders, and customers' social security numbers, driver's licenses, financial account information, and electronic signatures. All right, so this cybersecurity at the banks is a real-world issue. Now, what can you do about it? I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you guys when we did that video way back when. When these banks and these credit card companies and your insurance companies, because this audience understands that there are several places you can keep money. One is in the bank. Again, we do that to, make quick transactions and pay bills. The other is in a brokerage account, and the other is in a insurance policy. Okay, we've been over this. I highly recommend that and usually I don't give advice, but I'm going to give you some advice today because I think this is good advice for everyone. When they say, hey, go ahead and get your statements in an electronic format, don't do that. Get your statements in the mail. Go to Office Depot or, Walmart or Target. Get a couple of binders and put those statements for your brokerage account, for your insurance policies, for your bank accounts. Get 3 binders and put those statements into those binders. That way, you never have to worry about some electronic application failing and leaving you in the lurch. Because what do you think would happen if that system never came back online for our banks? And we went to the bank and said, well, yesterday when I pulled up my statement, it said I had, X amount of dollars in the bank. I'm going to have to prove that if their systems have been wiped out or don't show that, okay? The burden of proof is going to be on us, the bank customer, the brokerage customer, the insurance company policyholder. Now, look, I'm not saying that these companies are acting nefariously. Something in the background is occurring that they probably have absolutely no control over. But that still leaves us vulnerable. So we have to be in a position where we can prove that, yes, I owned X amount of this, I owned X amount of that, and you want to go a step further. You want to get your mortgage statements printed out also. You want to prove that you own certain assets. Now, if your bank, brokerage firm, insurance company, or mortgage service provider says, hey, look, we've gone green, we don't print out those statements anymore. If you encounter that, then go online as often as you need to print, hard copy, print that information out and put it in that binder, okay? You're going to have some sort of proof. And I believe that part of this, evolving economy, especially since we're in an economic war right now, we're in World War III. We've covered that. Right now, it's an economic war. Part of the what we're going to see in terms of attacks is attacks on financial infrastructure. Okay, and that may be what we saw with Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and U.S. Bank on the evening of the 5th of July and into the early morning hours of the 6th of July. As I've just showed you, those outages were actually recorded. Okay, suppose that had lasted well into the next day, the next few days, the next week. That brings up one last point. Now, if your bank goes down, then it may very well affect your ability to do necessary things like buy food, gasoline. Okay, so you're going to need to have a way to bridge that gap. Now, of course, credit cards are one way to do it, but that is an infrastructure that is also heavily reliant, almost totally reliant on the infrastructure, the electronic infrastructure. So you're going to have some means of transacting cash, okay? You're going to have some cash on hand, right, to carry you through a couple of days, to get you to work. Other things you might want to consider are keeping a full tank of gas. When I was a firefighter, they said that you should never bring a vehicle back to the station once it had gone below 3/4 of a tank full. You needed to fill it up, okay? And that's a good policy you may want to institute in your own life. That's a policy that I observe here at our home. Okay. All right, guys. So this happened. This is not theory. This is not conjecture. This is not doomsaying. This actually happened. I've showed you the proof. So go through, do what you need to do in order to protect yourself and your money. We're in uncharted territory, and people from all around the world are. There are a lot of extremely intelligent people out there who have the capability to go in and disrupt the financial infrastructure. And when they do that, it affects you. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.